Defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn is set to interview with the Denver Broncos. Jeff, how are we feeling about that?
Well, Aaron Glenn, to me, he's done a damn good job in his first year with Detroit as the DC. And I think, listen, credit to him for, number one, getting a head coaching interview. Because last year, people forget, he interviewed for the New York Jets job, and that went to Robert Saleh. So this year, very well-deserved. He's a leader of men, and guys look for that as their head coach. And with Aaron Glenn, though, the question is he ready? And it's an interesting question because he's been a defensive coordinator. He was a cornerback coach, secondary coach last year. I'm not sure, but from his leadership standpoint and just being a developing standpoint, because that's what you got to be as a coach, man. You got to help develop players. He can do that. And you've seen in the New Orleans Saints, he developed Marshawn Lattimore. He developed the Williams, the safety, came to Detroit, supposed to develop Jeff Okudah, got injured, but Amari Oruwariye, career high in picks. You have Tracy Walker, breakout season. You have undrafted free agents, Jerry Jacobs, A.J. Parker, playing good. Dean Marlowe, guy we didn't know of, playing pretty good, although in the beginning of the season he didn't look as good. So improvement, that's what's key. And with Aaron Glenn, Denver definitely needs to – now, is he the right hire? Probably not. I mean, for Denver, they need an offensive coach. I mean, that's clear as day. They had Vic Fangio. I don't think the defensive coordinator route is the smart move, but despite it, maybe that's me being biased because I want Aaron Glenn to stay, but the point is, with Aaron Glenn, listen, with points now, the statistics weren't there for the Lions. I mean, he ranked 31 in points for the defense and 29 in yards on defense. So the statistics weren't there. It's more so about being a leader amongst men, developing guys. Next year, I think you give him more time because Aaron Glenn can be a DC to get your defense in the top 15, top 10. This year didn't happen because of the talent. But I would say, if I'm Aaron Glenn, I'm going to wait. And he said it himself earlier in the season. I want to be the best defensive coordinator for Detroit. One of the best to ever come through Detroit, which I respect that. And you give him one more season, more talent. You draft an edge rusher, you draft linebackers. Maybe he can start statistically improving this team, and therefore he'll get more interviews. So maybe it's a little too early, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's bad. He got an interview. I'm happy for him. Great guy. We knew it was coming. Now, we didn't expect it year one. Giving a lot of Lions fans, getting us a little scared. But at the end of the day, man, he is built to be a head coach. He's great, man. We got a steal in Detroit, and really, that hasn't been the case for quite some time. Having a DC in his first year or OC get a head coaching gig or interview, it's spectacular to watch, man. I wish him luck, but I would say he stays one more season, 2 more seasons before he really starts looking at other options.
Only Aaron Glenn knows if he's ready to be a head coach. No one else. Only he knows. He sees it day to day with Dan Campbell. He's seen it before on other staffs. He knows what a head coach looks like, what it commands, the responsibilities that come along with it, the pressure. He knows there's a big difference between being the defensive coordinator for a talentless defense and the head coach of a good roster, bad roster, great roster. Big difference. And should Denver offer him the job? Honestly, if I'm Denver, I'm looking at what he did with the secondary players. And I'm saying, all right, I got Patrick Surtain. Now, if I can go find another corner in the 4th round, 3rd round, and they can play like that, and we can have games where we're holding our opposing teams under 20 points, 8, 9, 10 games out of the year, we'll win a lot of football games with this guy. But I'm also inclined to be fair. And as much as I want to say he should get an interview, and I'm happy for him, Denver are coming off Vic Fangio, who is one of the better defensive minds in football. They're not interested in defense, in my opinion. They're going for an offensive-minded guy. Why? Because defense was not the problem for Denver.
Mm-hmm. It's offense.
Throwing the football, getting the quarterback right, that was the problem. Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, good offensive line, good tight end, good wide receivers, but no stable quarterback who can win you football games. That's why. So, yes, Aaron Glenn will interview, and I'm happy for him. But I don't think he's going to get the job.
Yeah.
Not in Denver.
No.
If you were telling me maybe Miami, I would still have a hard time believing it, because why would they get rid of Flores again unless they knew who they were getting and it was a premier coaching talent?
Yeah. Not a first-year DC.
Not a guy who's first year as a defensive. Oh, look, I really think
great, though. He's great.
If I'm Aaron Glenn and the market is there for me and people are looking at me and saying, all right, we want this guy. He looks good. I got to ask myself, what's better for me? Going to a project or waiting a year, getting more talent, being able to showcase more of what I'm capable of and this team, and then moving on after 2 years to maybe a better position somewhere else? Or do I take the position now as a head coach and I gamble? And you guys have to remember, once you take a head coaching job, you better hit. You very rarely get another opportunity, especially if it's a disaster. Especially if it's a disaster. You think Matt Nagy's going to get another head coaching job right away? Probably not. He'll go be an OC somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And if he turns it around there, people will look back on his record and say, you know what? Matt Nagy walked into a GM who was a complete buffoon, who drafted Mitchell Trubisky, it busted the first year, and then Nagy showed up, won 12-4, won the division, botched field goal away from winning a playoff game. Oh, he made the playoffs 2 out of his 4 years, had a winning record. Oh, man, he's doing a really good job here as an OC. You know what, man? I believe in our GM. He believes in Nagy. I like the move. Let's do it. Don't be surprised if Nagy gets a job or Zimmer gets a job in 2-3 years. It would not surprise me. Zimmer may be a little bit more surprising, but Nagy would not surprise me. They're going to go be OCs, DCs. They're going to turn it around somewhere. They're going to do a good job. And if they do, they're going to be looked at as potential head coaches. Nagy has a track record. And again, if I'm Denver, why would I hire a defensive coach when I just got rid of one? Mm-hmm. Look at the teams that are successful with a defensive-minded coach. Tom Brady, or excuse me, Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick.
He has Mac Jones. Now, Mac Jones is a rookie quarterback, so I should argue Mac Jones has Bill Belichick, but he's the anomaly. He's one of, if not the best coach ever. Mike Vrabel, outstanding. How they were able to win games without Derrick Henry. So it just shows the kind of coach he is. Sean McDermott? I mean, the Bills I feel like they play down every week. They're inconsistent, but they got the quarterback too. Who else is winning defensively in the NFL? Not many teams. Look at your last 5 Super Bowl winners. Outside of the Patriots. Which ones were really like defensive-minded coaches?
It's tough.
Doug Peterson wasn't defensive-minded. Andy Reid isn't defensive-minded. Only Bill Belichick. Only Bill Belichick.
Dan Quinn got there years ago.
Bruce Arians, he a defensive-minded coach? Granted, the defense did win them that game in the Super Bowl. They got after Patrick Mahomes.
Those Todd Bowles, he was doing a good job.
Come on. League is heading towards offense, and I'm starting to believe that Eric Bieniemy will never get a job. Honestly, if it wasn't last year, how the hell do you expect him to get it this year?
Yeah, the offense digressed this year. So
not only did it regress, I mean, they're coming off a Super Bowl loss. They may not even make the Super Bowl this year. Like, if anything, he should have gotten hired after the Super Bowl win. Like, for me, I think teams are pretty dived in and know enough to say, look, we know Andy Reid. He's not giving play calling or decisions to anybody, even Bieniemy. So why do we believe he's some genius? Maybe that's the reserve on him. I understand it. I just find it tough to believe. I really do. Aaron Glenn sent to interview in Denver. Lions fans, if you want my advice, don't even worry. Denver's not going to hire Aaron Glenn. Okay? And I hate to bring this up, but damn it, somebody needs to bring it up. Do you guys understand how the Rooney Rule works in the NFL? You have to interview a specific amount of minority coaches. It's a must. We see Jim Caldwell's name thrown around all the time. Eric Bieniemy. Now Aaron Glenn. Now, I don't like that. I think it's actually extremely rude to qualified minority coaches. And I don't even like calling them minority. I think it's really annoying. But whatever. So that you're going to see a lot of interviews happen like this that are all smoke and mirrors because they've probably already decided who they actually want. But I do believe Aaron Glenn will be a head coach in this football league. I just don't think it's this year, and I don't think it's in Denver. Now, if you rumor him somewhere else, maybe I'll reconsider. I don't think he'll be up for the Minnesota or the Chicago job. Jacksonville, I don't think Jacksonville, again, are going to go to a defensive-minded guy coming off of Urban Meyer. I don't think Denver is. So where's Aaron Glenn really going to get a job this year? I don't think this is the year. I think Aaron Glenn maybe next year, he moves off of Detroit. That makes more sense to me. Acquires more talent defensively through the draft with Brad Holmes, and they look more respectable, and they finish anywhere between 16 and 20 in terms of statistical categories next year. That would make sense to me. That would be improvement, and that would be, all right, yeah, he knows what he's doing. Let's see if he can be a head coach. And if he can't, great. You know he's a very good defensive coordinator. Jim Schwartz, a very good defensive coordinator. Steve Spagnuolo, very good defensive coordinator, not a good head coach. Just because you can't be a head coach does not mean you don't have a role to play in the NFL. Is Aaron Glenn ready to be a head coach? I'm not sure. If he got a job, no one would be happier than me. But I think it makes sense to stay. And given the current hiring teams, I don't see the fit. I don't see the team that's dying for a defensive-minded head coach right now. I don't. So that's that for Aaron Glenn. I hope that puts a lot of Detroit fans at ease. I don't believe he's going anywhere. Take my word for it. It doesn't make sense in Denver. So, yes, he's interviewing, but it's just reps for him.
Yeah.
He gets to practice what an interview process looks like. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, you interviewed last year for the Jets for their head coaching gig. So he came over to Detroit.
I have no problem with it.
Yep.
He'll probably stick around. He's not going to Denver. Take it from me.
Inside source.
I've watched this league for way too long. Nobody moves off a defensive-minded coach
for a defensive.
minded coach, especially when the offense looks anemic at times and the quarterback play is not good. They're looking for an offensive-minded coach. Kellen Moore, Eric Bieniemy, Joe Brady, even though he got fired from Carolina, but I'm just throwing names out there on the offensive side so you understand Aaron Glenn is not the choice. He'll get the interview. He will not get the job. Sleep at ease tonight. Fair?
Fair.
You've reached the end of the video. You know what you should do? Press like. You know you like the content that we have here at Woodward Sports Network. I'm Braylon Edwards from the bottom line. Subscribe to us right now.